Hey guys, it's Travis, the Pagan Scholar, here with another episode of Tarot and Poetry. I've actually already shot the footage outside, however, I realized as soon as I got back that I didn't actually go over the tarot card, I just talked about the poem. So, now that I'm back in my air-conditioned environment, I can talk about poetry, and I can talk about tarot cards, and I can talk about the star with you, and let's get started. Alright, so drawing from Binabel's Holistic Tarot, we're discussing the Star card, and just right off the bat, the Star represents hope, inspiration, and mental health. It's a very positive card. It's sort of like the Sun card, only kind of it's not in its final form yet. It's contentment, and it's the ability to be at peace after a great deal of pain, because the cards before the Star were the Hanged Man, the Devil, the Tower, and so finally, after all of this, upheaval and difficulties, we have this moment of peace, this moment of clarity, where we start to see the world around us, and it's a very positive and hopeful card. If we look at the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, all of the tarot decks that I have depict the Star in the same way. It is a naked woman, a nude woman, because babies are naked. Women are nude. But, and it depicts a woman. Behind her is an 8-pointed star. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8-pointed stars. She's pouring water out onto the land and into an ocean or a pond, another body of water. And so this can mean a couple of different things, but it represents transitioning and pouring out, at least to me, sorrows and troubles, all of the negative things that have happened in the previous cards, like the Tower. We're able to let go of those things and release those things. However, I think it's very significant that it is being poured out onto land and being poured out onto the pond, because there's sort of an idea of paradox, an idea of difference going on, and there's different ways that we can interpret tragedies that we have experienced, and we can pour them out into different things, into different ways, into different places. And so I think that there's a degree of mutability, is that even a word? I don't know, that the Star card brings with it, that it allows different interpretations to kind of arise. For the fantasy deck, we have another nude woman. There's some fairy ethos going on here. However, going back to what I said before, it looks like she's pouring out the sun into... I never noticed that. It looks like a floating island. Anyways, but yeah, she's pouring out this energy, and behind her is a pitcher with the same kind of energy pouring out onto the land. I think that this represents the idea that you'll hear about in just a minute in the video, that the Star, well, what is a star? It's a sun, only we see it from a great distance, and so we only see like the twinkling, the sparkle of the star, of the glint of the sun, since it is so far off. And so that will represent an idea of paradox that we'll discuss in a minute when we talk about the poetry. And then with the Night Sun tarot deck, always throw in a wrench in our casual interpretations. This depicts a nude woman. It's a little bit more eroticized. She's sort of rising up out of the ground, and behind her is an 8-pointed star, but it's geometric. And so it's much more in tune with the idea of enlightenment and this very esoteric, occult idea of enlightenment. I suppose you could interpret the card as her rising out of the rubbles of the fallen tower, which was the card before. That's just me. I don't have the booklet for the Night Sun anymore, so I really couldn't say what the author's and the artist's intent was. However, it shows that she has this blue skin up top, and then her hands are more earthenware and more dusty and dirty. And so I believe that's sort of representative of the pouring out of the two pitchers, one onto earth, one onto the ocean or a lake. And it's an interesting take on the Star. I think that it's worthy of our attention and interpretations. There's a great deal of paradox going on. So I'm going to cut to the scenes that I shot outside, and you can hear about epigraphs. Alright, we're going to do this standing. And I'm sure the rich people can see me, and they're like, who the hell is that kid in the creek drinking wine, talking about poetry? Anyways, so for the Star, I'm drinking a Pinot Grigio. I really wanted to get a Vino Verde, but I guess they were out. So when we think about the Star, what is the Star? It's probably the echo of something long since dead. But to not be totally nihilistic about it, the Star represents something that is, it's an energy it's more of an echo, it's a twinkling. Like, what do we think of when we think of stars? They twinkle in the distance. When in reality, they are as massive or larger than our sun. So the Star, if you're taking it metaphorically, would represent a great truth, a great energy, but it's something that we only recognize in a twinkle of an eye, a sparkle in the sky, and we appreciate it and we love it and it makes us feel happy, but it's just a fraction of a truth that is something way, way, way beyond our comprehension, much like how large a sun would be. So I thought that a really great poetic device to explore the Star would actually be epigrams. We're going to do a brief English lesson here. An epigram is a 4-line poem or shorter. Sometimes they're 1 line. In fact, a lot of historical epigrams are just 1 line. And some people argue that epigrams can be 1 word, but I really don't buy into that. I don't like that. So the heart of an epigram is in its brevity, its ability to quickly, like pithy sayings, and the ability to really be sharp and make you think about something. However, also another element of the epigram is paradox and irony. A couple examples of epigrams would be the Golden Rule, or in our case, the Wiccan Rede, the harming none, do as thou wilt, all that. Another one would be Lao Tzu's, what is it? An unbending tree is easily broken. One of my favorite epigrams is by Albert Camus, and it's, in the depths of winter, I found within me an eternal summer. Another epigram that he's got is, how can one live without grace? One has to do what Christianity never did, be concerned with the damned. And that is kind of like, ooh, burn! So those would be like contemporary epigrams. Whenever somebody has a one-liner and it's really sharp and it's really like, oh shit, they actually said that. That's kind of like a slang epigram, if that makes any sense. Audrey Hepburn came up with an epigram, the best thing to hold on to in life is each other. These are sort of in the realms of inspirational quotes, things that you see on Facebook and in like really fun font with whatever image next to it. Those are sometimes considered epigrams. They can be if they're done well. Eleanor Roosevelt, no one can make you feel inferior without your consent. See, there's an element of paradox, there's an element of irony in that statement, because no one can make you feel inferior unless you allow them to make you feel inferior, and why would you ever do that? So, paradox, hooray, epigrams. The poem, the poetic epigram that I wanted to read you and share with you, it's super short, is by Charles Simic, and it's called Watermelons. Green Buddhas on the fruit stand, we eat the smile and spit out the teeth. See, it's got this really interesting and bizarre element, this unbalance and this paradox. So, you know, what are watermelons? They're green Buddhas sitting on the fruit stand. Yeah, we can see that. We get that. And then we eat the smile. When we slice the watermelon, we eat the smile, and then we spit out the teeth of the Buddha that we're eating, that we're cannibalizing, you know. It's just this funny, interesting, light twinkling of an idea like the Star, when behind it there's this massive, huge element of the sun behind it. It's this greater and deeper wisdom or truth or idea, but it's represented in just this brief, sharp moment, and that is the epigram. And I think that can be considered the Star. I'm going to go back to my apartment, and I'm going to try and edit this and see if it's salvageable. Maybe I'll show you my garden, and you can give me some tips, because some of it's dying, it's not looking so good, and maybe some of you green hedge witches can help me out. Alright guys, here is my garden-ish. So here's some verbena, and it does really well, and then it dies. And then it does really well, and then it dies. And I've just been cutting off the dead bits, and then new things blossom, so that's not too bad. It's a pretty good success. And these, bittens, I think, yeah. They're just unstoppable. Whoops. Okay, so the lavender wants to talk now. And, like, parts of it kind of turn brown. And then parts of it thrive, and then parts of it turn brown, and yeah, I don't know. I'm not really sure how to trim that. I got these snapdragons. I think it's just too hot in Texas for snapdragons. But the salvia is doing quite well. And the... crap, what are these called? I can't remember. Chiropsis, of course. These do really well, actually. My dianthus is actually doing quite well, even though there's only a couple of blooms. But the other dianthus that I have is like, hey everybody, I'm here to party. The phlox is just unstoppable, and it's amazing. I love it. Because I like blue flowers. However, speaking of blue flowers, we arrive at the delphiniums. I don't know what to do, guys. They were so vibrant before, and now they're kind of dying. And I don't really know what to trim off of them. Yes, the air conditioner's in the background, sorry. However, there is one green new bud, and so that gives me hope. I've been trying to trim them. I don't know. They're my problem child right now. But I'll let you know how they look. Anyways, for spring, for the upcoming Beltane, I'll give you a shot of our altar. We made it very colorful. Those are all of the clippings that I've taken. But yeah, here is our little space of Beltane. Anyways, I hope that you guys are having a wonderful, beautiful, beautiful day. And yeah, I hope you have a wonderful Beltane. If I don't get a video up by then, as always, merry meet, merry part, and merry meet again.